Okay, let's take a deep dive into something intriguing today.
Sounds good.
Our source material lays out, well, a pretty compelling possibility.
Dramatically reducing the visible signs of aging skin.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, using just 2 incredibly common ingredients you might already have sitting in your kitchen.
Okay.
Potentially for less than, like, $5? The claims in these sources are pretty bold, actually.
How bold are we talking?
Everything from looking significantly younger really quickly to major wrinkle reduction.
It almost sounds too simple to be true, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the sources really focus on the surprising properties of 2 ordinary items, castor oil and baking soda.
Exactly. Castor oil and baking soda. So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack everything your source material presented on this.
All right.
We're going to explore the specific claims about this combination remedy, the science they present to back it up, how they say you should use it. And crucially, zero in on a critical mistake they say a lot of people make. One that can actually do more harm than good to your skin. Right, that's important. And honestly, some of the examples shared in the sources really grab your attention.
They do. Like Margaret, the 85-year-old whose skin reportedly transformed so much in just 3 weeks that her own daughter thought she'd had cosmetic surgery.
Wow. Okay.
Or Barbara, who saw a claimed 40% reduction in wrinkles around her eyes. These are the kinds of results the source material suggests are possible.
So definitely worth digging into the how and why.
Absolutely. Let's start with one of the core components.
Castor oil. The sources describe it as almost a forgotten fountain of youth for skin.
A forgotten fountain of youth. That's quite a description. What is it about castor oil that earns it that, according to the sources?
It really comes down to its unique makeup. Your source material highlights a specific compound, ricinoleic acid.
Ricinoleic acid. Okay.
This single fatty acid makes up nearly 90% of the oil's composition.
90%. Wow, that's incredibly high for one component.
It is. And research cited in your sources, specifically one published in the International Journal of Toxicology, suggests that this ricinoleic acid has a remarkable ability.
Which is?
It can penetrate deeply into the skin layers, and once it's there, it's believed to, well, boost collagen production and improve elasticity.
And collagen and elasticity are exactly what we lose as skin ages, right?
Precisely.
Your sources mentioned that the dermis, that kind of crucial middle layer, can thin by up to 20% every decade after 50.
Which makes wrinkles look much deeper.
Makes sense.
And compounding that, our skin's natural oil production drops off significantly with age. The sources say potentially by as much as 60% by age 70.
60%? That's huge.
Yeah, and that leads to moisture loss, skin that looks more fragile, and that sort of papery texture they described.
Okay.
So castor oil, with this deep penetration and, the reported boost to collagen, is presented as directly tackling these core aging issues.
And that's where examples like Barbara's claimed 40% wrinkle reduction start to fit into the picture they're painting. It's targeting the underlying stuff.
Seems to be the idea presented, yes.
So based on the source material, how should you use just the pure castor oil then? What are the instructions?
They're pretty straightforward. Apply just a few drops of pure, cold-pressed, hexane-free castor oil.
Okay, pure, cold-pressed, hexane-free. Got it.
To clean skin nightly before bed. They also recommend looking for oil packaged in a dark bottle, apparently to help preserve those beneficial compounds.
And does the application technique matter?
It seems so. The sources emphasize gently tapping the oil into the skin rather than rubbing it in harshly.
Capping, not rubbing. Especially on delicate areas, I imagine.
Exactly. Focus on areas prone to dryness or wrinkles. They do note that while it might feel thick initially, it actually absorbs surprisingly quickly.
It is interesting how the source points to this, simple, centuries-old oil as potentially more effective than some complex synthetic products used by major companies. It makes you think.
It certainly does. And speaking of seemingly simple ingredients with surprising properties, your sources also dive deep into baking soda.
Baking soda, really? The stuff for baking or cleaning? How is that presented as an effective natural exfoliant, especially for mature skin? That sounds kind of counterintuitive.
It does a bit, but it's all about its structure. Baking soda has this unique crystalline form.
Okay.
And the sources explain this provides a specific level of gentle exfoliation. It's mild enough, they say, not to cause damage, but effective enough to lift away that layer of dull, dead skin cells.
Right, the dead skin cells.
Mhm.
And why is getting rid of that layer so critical for aging skin, according to the sources?
Well, dermatologists, and they reference folks at the Mayo Clinic,
Uh-huh.
confirm that gentle exfoliation is key. It removes that buildup of dead cells that can make aging skin look lackluster and make wrinkles appear more prominent.
And the problem gets worse as we age.
Yeah, the challenge, particularly after 60, is that our skin cell turnover slows right down, significantly.
How much slower?
Harvard Medical School research, cited in the source, suggests the process can take 45 to 60 days. Compare that to about 28 days when we're younger.
Wow, so nearly twice as long, or even more.
Exactly. So more dead cells just accumulate on the surface.
How much more?
The sources estimate up to 25% more dead cells can build up on mature skin. This doesn't just dull the complexion,
No.
it also creates a physical barrier.
Like that analogy they used, trying to water a garden through a tarp.
That's the perfect way to visualize it. This buildup literally stops the beneficial ingredients in your other skincare products from reaching the living cells underneath where they actually need to go to work.
And that barrier removal is likely a big part of why that example, John, reportedly saw such dramatic improvement in skin texture in just 1 week.
That seems to be the connection they're making.
So how does the source recommend using baking soda specifically for this exfoliation? Is it daily?
No, definitely not daily. The key is using it just weekly.
Weekly, okay. How?
You mix half a teaspoon of baking soda with just a few drops of water to form a paste.
Half a teaspoon with a little water. Got it.
Then you apply this using your fingertips in small, gentle circular motions. Make sure the paste stays slightly wet on the skin.
And how long should you do that for?
No more than 30 seconds on any single area. That's important. And definitely avoid the very delicate skin directly around your eyes.
30 seconds max per area. Avoid the eyes. And then rinse.
Rinse thoroughly with cool water afterward. A crucial point made in the source is that the baking soda helps dissolve the sort of cellular glue holding dead cells together.
Okay.
Unlike harsh physical scrubs that can actually create microscopic tears in the skin.
So it's dissolving, not tearing. That's a key distinction.
Very much so, according to the sources.
Okay, so we have castor oil for the deep penetration and boosting collagen, and baking soda for gentle weekly exfoliation to clear the way. But the source material claims the truly remarkable transformation, the synergistic effect, happens when you actually combine them.
Exactly. That's where the sum is supposedly greater than the individual parts.
And is there science presented for this combination as well?
Yes. They cite research from the Journal of Integrative Dermatology,
Okay.
which suggests that alkaline substances like baking soda can temporarily and mildly disrupt the skin's protective barrier.
Disrupt it. Is that good?
Well, in a controlled way, apparently, yes. This controlled disruption then creates temporary microchannels.
Microchannels, like tiny pathways into the skin.
Precisely. It allows beneficial oils like that ricinoleic acid-rich castor oil to penetrate significantly deeper into the skin than they normally would.
Deeper than just applying the oil alone.
That's the claim. And this deeper penetration is said to stimulate the skin's natural repair mechanisms more effectively, triggering increased collagen production and faster cell renewal.
So the baking soda in the combination isn't just exfoliating at that point, it's doing something else too.
Correct. According to the source, it acts as both an exfoliant and a temporary pH modifier.
pH modifier, what does that mean here?
It means it briefly shifts the skin's surface from its natural, slightly acidic state towards being more alkaline. And that temporary pH change is what helps create those microchannels, allowing the castor oil's compounds to really get down into the deeper layers where they can have a bigger impact.
I see. And that might explain examples like Janet's age spots reportedly starting to fade within 10 days when she used the combination correctly.
That fits the narrative presented, yes.
Okay, this combination sounds potent. But you mentioned earlier the source also flags a critical mistake many people make. What is that?
Yes, they are very clear on this. The critical mistake involves the improper mixing ratio of the two ingredients.
The ratio.
And also potentially using the baking soda component too often, which we'll get to. But focusing on the ratio first. Too much baking soda, they warn, can excessively disrupt that skin barrier.
Leading to problems.
Yes, leading to irritation, redness, maybe even damage. But on the flip side, too little baking soda, and you might not get enough exfoliation or that pH shift to allow the castor oil to penetrate effectively.
So getting that balance wrong either hurts your skin or you just don't get the full benefit.
Exactly. It undermines the whole process.
So the specific ratio is absolutely crucial. What exact recipe does the source material provide for this combination mixture?
The sources specify mixing 1 teaspoon of castor oil with precisely 14 teaspoons of baking soda.
1 teaspoon castor oil, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda.
Got it. Mix them together until you have a smooth paste. That precise proportion is highlighted as essential.
Okay, 1 to 1/4. And how do you apply this specific mixture? Is it the same tapping?
For this, they say apply it to clean skin using gentle upward motions. Still avoid the very delicate skin directly under your eyes with this mixture.
Upward motions, avoid under eyes. And timing.
And here's another crucial timing element. Leave it on for exactly 15 minutes.
Exactly 15 minutes, not roughly 15.
That's what the source stresses. Exactly 15. They say less time might not allow for sufficient penetration,
Right.
while leaving it on longer, especially for mature skin, which can be more sensitive, could increase the risk of irritation.
Okay, 15 minutes on the dot. Then rinse thoroughly with cool water, I assume.
Correct. Rinse thoroughly with cool water.
And is that the complete ritual for the combination days?
Not quite. There's one more very important step. Immediately after rinsing and gently patting your skin dry, you apply a few drops of pure castor oil again, just the oil this time.
Okay. Why?
The sources explain this helps to seal in moisture after the treatment and kind of continue the process of skin regeneration while you sleep. They suggest it leads to progressive improvement over time.
That makes sense. You've used the combination to open the pathways, get things working, and now you're flooding them with more of the beneficial oil to soak in overnight.
That seems to be the logic presented.
Okay, let's pivot slightly. Your sources point out that while we often focus on facial wrinkles, dermatologists identify other specific areas that can reveal age even more prominently. They call them the danger zones.
Right. That's a striking term, isn't it? Dermatologists at Johns Hopkins, cited in the source, highlight 3 areas they see as the most telltale signs of aging.
Which are?
The neck, the back of the hands, and the skin immediately around the eyes.
The neck, hands, and eyes. Why those 3 areas specifically? What makes them such giveaways?
According to the sources, it's a combination of factors. These areas generally have thinner skin.
Thinner than the face.
Yes, significantly in some cases. They also have fewer oil glands compared to the face, making them naturally drier. And crucially, they are constantly exposed to daily sun, which we know accelerates aging dramatically.
Right, sun exposure is huge.
So the claim is that neglecting these zones can actually make you look up to 15 years older overall, even if your face looks good.
15 years older just by neglecting these areas.
Right.
Wow, that's a powerful statistic the source presents.
It is, and it makes perfect sense why focusing treatment there, like in the example of Elizabeth, whose grandchildren noticed her hands looked younger, could dramatically reduce that overall impression of age.
Definitely. So do the sources give specifics on how these areas age?
Yes. For the neck, they mention those horizontal lines, sometimes called tech neck now from looking down at devices so much.
Tech neck. I've heard of that.
For the hands, the skin apparently thins by about 1% each year after 50.
1% a year. That adds up.
It really does. Eventually making tendons and veins much more visible. And the skin around your eyes is incredibly delicate. They say it's only about 1/3 the thickness of your cheek skin.
1/3. No wonder it shows lines easily.
Exactly. Highly vulnerable to fine lines, crow's feet, and that sort of crippiness.
So how does the source recommend adapting the combination treatment for these specific danger zones? Do you use the same mix?
Mostly, but with key modifications. The general advice is to apply the castor oil and baking soda mixture to these 3 zones first, before the rest of the face.
Okay, prioritize them.
Yes. Then, for the eye area, because the skin is so thin, you significantly reduce the amount of baking soda. Just use a tiny pinch mixed with the oil, so it's much more oil dominant there.
A pinch of baking soda for the eyes. Got it. What about neck and hands?
For the neck, always use gentle upward strokes when applying the mixture. And for the back of the hands, you actually leave the mixture on for an additional 5 minutes.
Longer for the hands.
Yes, a total of 20 minutes instead of 15. The reasoning given is that the skin there is slightly thicker than the face and neck and can benefit from the slightly extended contact time.
Okay, 20 minutes for hands. And after rinsing these areas, same follow-up.
Just like with the face, immediately follow up by applying pure castor oil again to these areas. Pay special attention, they say, to cuticles and knuckles on the hands, as those are also age telltales.
Right. Cuticles and knuckles.
And the sources claim that because these areas are often neglected, they can respond relatively quickly to this focused treatment. You might potentially see visible improvement within just 1 week.
Interesting. Okay, so we've covered the ingredients, the power of the combination, the crucial ratio and application, and the key areas to target. Now, the source material also strongly emphasizes that when you apply these treatments is just as important as how you apply them.
Absolutely. This ties into the skin's natural rhythm. It's chronobiology.
Chronobiology, like a skin clock.
Essentially, yes. Studies, including those from Harvard Medical School cited in your sources, show that the peak time for skin cell regeneration happens at night, specifically between about 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.
So that middle of the night window is really where the action is for skin repair.
According to the sources, absolutely. During this period, your skin naturally increases its blood flow, and it also decreases some of its protective barriers slightly.
Ah, it lowers its defenses.
Kind of. They call this creating an open window for absorption. And they suggest treatments applied then can be up to 60% more effective than if you applied them during the day.
60%. That's a massive difference in potential effectiveness, just by timing it right.
It's a significant claim. And it really highlights the point made about that example, William, who apparently saw twice the improvement when he shifted his routine to that optimal time frame compared to his previous daytime application.
Wow. So applying it during the day is less effective because the skin is in protection mode.
Exactly. The repair cycle during this peak nighttime window is quite dramatic. They mention cell proliferation nearly triples during sleep, and collagen production also sees a significant boost. Applying treatments during the day means you're kind of working against the skin's natural defenses.
Okay, so timing is key. What's the nighttime ritual the sources recommend to best capitalize on this optimal window?
Right. They advise applying the combination mixture on the nights you use it, twice a week, or just the pure castor oil on the other nights, about 30 minutes before you plan to actually go to bed.
30 minutes before bed. Why?
This gives it some time to absorb, so it's less likely to just rub off on your pillowcase. Makes sense.
Okay, and prep before that.
Before applying anything, cleanse your skin with lukewarm water. They stress never hot water, as that can strip the natural oils your skin needs.
Lukewarm water. Got it.
Then pat your skin completely dry. The sources note that any dampness can dilute the treatment, making it less effective.
Right. Dry skin for application.
Then you apply the mixture, or the oil. After the 15 minutes for the combination mix and rinsing it off, you finish by applying that pure castor oil again, particularly focusing on areas with expression lines, frown lines, crow's feet, etc.
And the goal is just to maximize the time the product is on your skin during that crucial 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. repair cycle.
That's the strategy outlined.
Okay. So timing for absorption and the body's natural rhythm are key for maximum effectiveness. But there's a flip side. The sources issue a really strong warning. Using the baking soda component too often, being over-enthusiastic, can actually damage your skin's barrier and reverse any progress.
Yes, this is that critical point about not overdoing it. Your sources reference warnings from groups like the American Academy of Dermatology, emphasizing again that mature skin regenerates much more slowly. Remember that 45 to 60-day cell turnover time after age 60?
Right, compared to 28 days when younger.
Exactly. So your skin needs adequate recovery time between exfoliation treatments. They say at least 3 to 4 days.
So trying to exfoliate daily with the baking soda mix, even gently, is working completely against that slower, natural regeneration cycle.
Precisely. The sources share that example of Susan, who initially damaged her skin using the treatment daily,
Oh dear.
but then saw the sensitivity disappear, and results actually improved dramatically once she switched to the recommended schedule. It really illustrates the consequences of overexfoliation.
What exactly happens if you overexfoliate mature skin,
Well-
according to the sources? What's the damage?
According to the source material, you risk thinning the skin's protective barrier quite significantly, potentially by up to 40%.
40% thinner. That sounds bad.
It does, and this can lead to chronic redness, inflammation, and ironically actually accelerate the appearance of aging rather than improving it.
Accelerate aging. The opposite effect.
Right, because a damaged barrier can't effectively retain moisture, It can't block UV rays properly. It can't protect against environmental toxins. It results in sensitive, reactive skin that can take weeks to calm down, setting your progress back significantly.
Okay, so the correct, balanced weekly schedule is absolutely essential to prevent this damage while still getting the benefits. What is the specific regimen the sources recommend?
This is really the non-negotiable rule from the source material. Use the baking soda component, that means the combination mixture of castor oil and baking soda,
Right, the mix.
just twice weekly.
Only twice a week.
Only twice a week. They suggest examples like Mondays and Thursdays, just to ensure the days aren't consecutive. But the key is 2 non-consecutive days per week.
Okay, but what about the other nights?
You apply pure castor oil every single night as part of your nightly routine.
Ah, okay. So, combo mix twice a week,
Yeah.
Munzer says, pure castor oil every night, including monthers after rinsing the mix, and all other nights.
That's the exact rhythm they lay out.
Got it. Any tips they offer for staying consistent with that specific schedule? It seems easy to mess up.
Yeah, they suggest practical things. Mark the 2 combination days on a calendar or set phone reminders.
Good idea.
On the days you don't use the baking soda mixture, they recommend simply cleansing with warm water and maybe a soft cloth, just to be gentle and allow the skin barrier to heal and strengthen.
Okay. And what if your skin feels irritated?
Listen to your skin. If you notice any redness, unusual dryness, or sensitivity on a day you're scheduled for the combination mix, the advice is clear. Skip that scheduled exfoliation.
Skip it.
Yes. Just use the pure castor oil that night and continue with only pure castor oil until your skin feels completely calm and normal again. Then you can resume the twice-weekly schedule.
Right. Let the skin recover first.
Exactly. And setting a specific time each night for your routine, like that 30 minutes before bed, can also help build the habit and make consistency easier.
And the sources really underscore the consistency in following the schedule, not trying to increase the frequency of the exfoliation is what's key.
Absolutely. Patience is required because skin regeneration, especially as we age, is a gradual biological process. You can't rush it without causing problems.
It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint, as they say.
Follow the plan, that's the message.
So we've completed this deep dive into your source material on this castor oil and baking soda approach.
We covered a lot of ground.
We really did. We explored the fascinating purported science behind castor oil's ability to boost collagen and baking soda's role as, well, both a gentle exfoliant and a penetration enhancer.
The microchannels idea?
Right. We looked at how they're claimed to work together synergistically. Those specific danger zones, dermatologists identify neck, hands, eyes.
And how to treat them specifically.
Exactly. The critical importance of timing your treatment during the skin's peak repair cycle at night.
That 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. window.
And perhaps, most importantly, that essential weekly schedule. Using the mix only twice a week to get results without causing damage.
It's quite thought-provoking, isn't it? To consider how such inexpensive, seemingly simple, natural ingredients.
Yeah. When used precisely according to the protocol outlined in these sources, could potentially offer a pathway to smoother, brighter, younger-looking skin.
It really makes you pause and reevaluate what's possible, doesn't it? Compared to, really expensive creams and procedures.
It does raise questions.
So thinking about everything we've covered from your source material today, and specifically considering those danger zones, they highlighted the neck, the back of the hands, and the eye area. Which of those do you feel personally right now shows your age the most? Something for you, the listener, to maybe consider.